Hi, everyone. This is Rob Russell, and today we're going to talk about 20 things to think about for 2025, specifically for boutique hotels. This is part two of two. There is part one of two out there. At the end, we'll also have some links for you. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. Before we go much further, I do want to talk a little bit about the past. So we're going to talk about the future today in 2025, not the really distant future, right? But things that are really here and now, and they're just not evenly distributed. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a very brief look at the past just for context, right? So, in recent history, obviously, we've had the pandemic and the post-pandemic recovery, and some people call that revenge travel, depending on what market you're in. And there's been some very big booms and record-setting years in many of our markets that we work in. There's a rise of wellness and experiential travel as well, because people are more interested in health and immersive local experiences. Continued dependence on OTAs. This is because a lot of direct booking experiences and mobile in particular are not really that great and they don't convert that well. And that's one of the reasons why OTAs still remain a very important part of the mix for many boutique hotels. Sustainability and eco-conscious travel is also more appealing and important to many segments of travel. And also labor shortages and cost pressures remain from the pandemic and also force a bit of a focus on automation and cross-training in some markets. And then there's technological advancements. Obviously, AI is everywhere, but also revenue management systems. These are things that have been growing and add a lot of value to the hotel. So if you're not doing dynamic pricing, for example, sometimes that's a technological barrier. Sometimes there's other barriers. But anyway, that is something that has been going on in recent years, and you should think about for 2025. So these are the things that are recent past, but also relevant to the next 12 months or so. So one of the things is bleisure travel, right? 25% of all bookings in urban boutique hotels are bleisure travel already. So this may depend on your market, but boutique hotels are pretty ideal for business leisure travelers, right? You have already a combination of those factors. You have high-speed internet and workspaces, and you have curated activities that can attract them for, the leisure part of their trip. Flexible packages blending work and relaxation do drive bookings. So when it comes to digital guidebooks also, this has created an increase in ancillary revenue for many hotels, as much as 25% just by using digital guidebooks. So they can replace room directories completely, and they can have live updates. They can also allow guests to browse and make recommendations and book activities directly from their phone. And some guests even prefer that, right? There's also eco-friendly benefits, right? Because it's a way to engage guests and boost upselling. So unbundled services, this is one that kind of varies by market, right? But some guests do not want to pay for all these bundled services where they don't use a lot of those things. So unbundling services has a strong appeal to many guests who might want to save some money. In some hotels, it's actually been a 10% revenue boost per booking by unbundling because guests might spend more to pay for some of these services, right? So many guests, as I said, prefer to pay for things that they use, not all these bundled things. And, it can be extra things like, housekeeping, breakfast, or premium Wi-Fi. Obviously, this depends a lot on your demographic and your property. And customization also boosts guest experience and hotel revenue. So it's just something to think about. Clearly does not apply to all hotels. In some places, including breakfast in the package is an absolute must for certain audiences. Um, so another thing that I think hotels don't think about enough is that customer experience when they're sitting there in front of the booking engine trying to book something and they've got it and there's this, sort of psychological aspect, which is pre-booking anxiety and how that relates to direct strategies. So, one of the things that I've heard for 10 or 15 years is that, if a website or an e-commerce site, if it's at all confusing, people leave, right? Confusion creates anxiety. You have to be super clear. It has to be super simple for them to understand exactly what they're paying for, exactly what they're getting. and what the clauses are for cancellation or getting out of things or getting a promotion. So try to keep things simple because pre-booking anxiety is pretty real and it can affect a lot of direct sales. So travelers will hesitate due to price changes and booking doubts and refundable rates and price guarantees, and all of these things need to be clarified. And it does encourage direct bookings over OTAs. The other thing is, again, this also depends a lot on hotels, but I would urge you to really look around your property and look at certain areas that are perhaps underutilized. And you can repurpose some areas, to create revenue. You can convert underused spaces into co-working areas or event venues or bars. And in some hotels, this has increased revenue by as much as 15%. And multi-use spaces also attract locals. They can boost revenue and enhance community. There's certain hotels that I've either been to or worked with where they're located near an apartment complex, and if they offered, let's say, dry cleaning, then they would get a lot of business from those apartments nearby. So there's just a lot of other things to think about. That's not exactly a common area, I guess. But anyway, it is an example of thinking more creatively about assets that you already have, things you're already doing, and turning those into revenue generators. And it can strengthen the boutique hotel's sort of unique appeal if you have little unique experiences around the property as well. Wellness focused rooms as well, appeals to a lot of people. Not everyone perhaps, but there's certainly more people looking for these things, and it is a trend that has been growing. And wellness room offerings can increase room rates as well by as much as 10 or 15%. So, this can be things like air purifiers, aromatherapy, and even just ergonomic furniture. This can appeal to like health conscious travelers that are looking for relaxation. And you can pair the experience with a spa or meditation session, which might then also, increase your revenue. So just real quick here, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or X, wherever you are, you may never buy any of our products, but if you get any value out of this, please like or subscribe or comment or share because that really does help us out a lot. Thanks. Properties using guest messaging platforms report that they have like a 25% reduction in response times, which also, creates a better guest satisfaction, better guest experience. So chatbots for instant human-like guest communication can be very effective. And I say human-like, right, because these are very different from previous chatbots, right? So a lot of what's possible today is really indistinguishable from humans and sometimes better than humans, right? They don't make spelling mistakes. They don't get angry. They don't get defensive. And so a chatbot that really acts like a human and cannot be differentiated can be a very effective way to add to the guest experience. It can answer questions quickly, obviously, at any time of day or night. And they can also free up your staff to do other things. And they can ultimately sort of improve guest satisfaction and operational efficiency. It's not a way of diminishing the hospitality experience, right? It's a way of making it better. Also, sustainability as a booking incentive, right? This is something that's also been growing. Again, varies by market, but as much as 68% of travelers are more likely to book with hotels that actively promote sustainability. And this can be something simple, like just a note saying, do you want your towels washed every day and things like that. If not, we are trying to save water and things like that. So it can be a lot of things that you're already doing, and sometimes it's just in the messaging. And then obviously, if you're not washing all the towels every day, that also saves you money. So I think creatively about that. You don't want to push it too hard, but I think depending on your property, depending on your guests, I think that can be a very effective thing to enhance the brand, right? And it does attract, many value-driven travelers as well. Even a simple initiative like this, like tree planting, shows real commitment. And it also appeals to certain generations like millennials and Gen Z. The other thing that's growing a lot, experience-centric travel. Experience-driven stays account for 70% of booking decisions globally. That number shocked me. To be honest, I don't remember the exact source. I know all of these numbers are sourced from very legitimate travel companies. Um, but that is a pretty high number, and more guests than ever are valuing unique, immersive experiences over just a standard stay. And you can partner with local businesses for culinary tools or cultural workshops and things like that. You can also have personalized itineraries that make your hotel a bit more of a destination. Now, you can also foster guest loyalty without all of the overhead of a traditional sort of loyalty program, right? Especially for independent boutique hotels, that can be quite a large hurdle. But guests who feel personally valued are 55% more likely to return. So that can be even higher with boutique hotels. And you can build loyalty through very personalized experiences, even if you don't have a program with points and those types of things, by recognizing repeat guests, either maybe on the website or via email, and you can offer perks and strengthen the connection between them and your property. Small gestures like upgrades or thank you notes in the room leave very lasting impressions and even can prompt them to talk about it on social media. So I think that's it for today. If you really want to learn more, please go to resortincome.com. We have a lot more information there that's free. We have some paid offerings as well, obviously, but we go into a lot more depth on all of these things. I hope you have a great 2025 and let us know if we can help you with any of these things. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.